attempted to go to, well, hey, thank you everybody for visiting my channel and clicking on this video. To all of my subscribers, my 167 fantastic subscribers. Y'all are some smart people. So I just came from attempting to get me some coffee at the new coffee shop that just opened, and when I got there, there was a line so long that I was like, I'm not waiting here. So I'm headed to the other one, and then I got to give them an update because I don't even think they have phones connected yet. But so there was a nice couple behind me. It was just us two at the latter end of the line, and so I got out of my car and I asked the gentleman, I said, would you mind clearing the way for me so I can get out of here? I'm going to head down to the other location. So he was nice enough, and I think they're headed to the other location also. I completely forgot that they got all the roads blocked off. Of course, that's Arizona's favorite thing to do. Block off all the roads with no construction. Anyway, so what am I talking about today? Today I'm talking about using wisdom in assisting people. You know, I've assisted a lot of people through the years of my life, and I have not ever wanted anything in return. You know, if the Lord blessed me to have something and somebody is in need, and he positions me and the circumstances, they align, I'll assist. That's why he prospered me in that way. You know what I mean? And so being out in these streets doing deliveries, you know, not only do I enjoy meeting people and enjoy the freedom, but I also enjoy the reward of assisting somebody. You know, being in these streets, you really can see who might be in need, right? So nevertheless, but you have to use wisdom. So like I said, I don't want anything in return. You know, some people only do things to see what they can get out of a person a bit later on. You know what I mean? I'm not one of those people. You know, I've had people live with me in my house, rent-free. Not only was it rent-free, but I was also their transportation and their chef. You know what I mean? I don't want nothing in return. Nothing at all. So we have to use wisdom. You know, family's pretty much going to be your first experience of being taken advantage of. And then once you get out in these streets, these panhandlers are going to take advantage of you. And let me tell you why the majority of people keep repeatedly giving to panhandlers. Sometimes the same panhandlers. Didn't they need their rent paid like 2 months ago, and now they have 17 kids and still need their rent paid, right? So the reason being is that people have a zeal of God, but not according to knowledge. That's why you get taken advantage of by panhandlers and your family. You know, my reward, you know, people have offered me material possessions and cash, and you know, I don't love money and I don't love material possessions. I just don't. I mean, you already heard in the other story how I told the chicken, these are nice dresses too, y'all. These dresses, compliment after compliment after compliment, quality. And I said, burn them. And those perfumes, those fragrances, because I'm a fragrance person. Ooh, I enjoy my fragrances. Burn it. Throw it in the trash. Do whatever. Run it over with your car. Get rid of it. But nevertheless, so yeah, the reward is, you know, when people, because I forget that I do these things until somebody recognizes me in these streets, and then they come up and they remind me and they thank me. You know what I mean? That's my reward. I really enjoy that. You know, and recently here, like within the last 2 weeks, another girl, she came up and she was just like a baby at the time this happened. And she was like, hey, you know, she was like, you're so-and-so, you know. And I looked and I was kind of startled. I was like, I am. And she was like, you know, and she just started, you know, thanking me profusely. And then I remembered. So you have to use wisdom. But yeah, this girl, I was in the stall, she was next to me, tears, just profuse crying, sorrowful, sobbing. And so, you know, I'm doing deliveries. Like, I was like washing my hands. I was like, yeah, let it all out, honey. Sometimes you just gotta steal away to a hideaway place and just cry. Open up that spout and relieve the pressure of your broken heart. Just cry. Men and women, just cry. Hide away and cry. So I get it, you know. So I thought I was just going to leave and do my deliveries. And so, of course, I turn around and I ask about her well-being. And she said, you know, she said things weren't okay. And I said, well, talk to me. Help me understand what's happening, you know. So she tells me that some guy has been harassing her. She's tried to complain to the manager. They're not helping. And she caught him doing something in the store again. And he said some things to her. And so her coworker comes in. And then I asked the coworker, I said, you know who she's talking about? Who it is? What does he look like? What is he wearing? Where is he at right now? You know? So she tells me. And so coworker, you know, mind you, they're at work, so she has to get back. So, you know, but she came in to give her buddy a little hug of encouragement, you know what I mean? And so I tell the girl, I said, look, I'm going to ask you a question. I said, are you on your cycle? And she said, I mean, because she's just crying uncontrollably. But in addition to, you know, this treatment that she just experienced and her cycle, you know, that just only amplified things. And so I said, okay. So I said, well, I'm going to ask you to put everything in writing. This is my name. You can include me as a witness. Here's my contact information. You put that in writing. I'm going to go out and speak to your corporate, because one thing about this convenience store is that they got real-time audio and real-time video. So whatever he said to her at that moment, they can play it back right then. So nevertheless, I tell her to pull herself together. I give her the instructions. I give her my information. And I go out to identify my target. And I make sure there's no witnesses. I'm letting all the people get out of the store. You know how the stores will kind of get congested, then they'll settle down. Then they'll get congested, then they'll settle down, right? So I wait for all the witnesses to leave. There's nobody in the store, myself, the 4 employees, and the target. One of the employees is actually a bully. There's 2 people behind the counter. Female and the manager, so-called. So I'm waiting for everybody to get out of the store. He's still standing there. I got my eye on him. And so then the bully employee, because she's always been rude and disrespectful every time I've come in, right? So she could say with an attitude, can I help you? When I slam my hand down on the counter, she jumps, he jumps, they all jump. Homegirl who hugged her buddy, she kind of slides out from behind the potato chips to witness the events. You know, get an earful, get an eyeful, right? And I point at the guy, I said, let me tell you something. I said, don't you come into this store anymore or any other store and talk down to any of the employees. Don't you use profanity and curse at any of the employees, let alone the women. I said, if you ain't gonna talk to no man that way, don't be over here trying to talk to these women this way. You understand me? And stop touching things. I said, you're not an employee. You don't work here. I said, I tell you what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go out to my car And I'm going to challenge myself to see if I can't get you banned from this store entirely. Right now. You and your buddy. So-called manager. I said, so that's what I'm going to be doing in my car. Do we have an understanding? So I get on the phone with the corporate, do what I said I was going to do. And all this time had gone by, maybe like a year, right? And that was her, the girl, because I haven't seen her from that moment up until now, from the time that she got my attention. I hadn't seen her. I thought that she quit. I hadn't seen her, you know. I saw the other one. Oh, her attitude changed when she would see me. Hi! How are you? Isn't it amazing how people are tough? You know, what is that saying? They were Billy Bad until they ran into Billy Bad or something like that. But anyway, so her whole attitude switched up. You know? I can't stand bullies. And the problem with me is that, see, I've had to put my hands on some bullies because I was bullied. You know what I mean? And through process of time, I just got sick of bullies, and I would just put my hands on bullies and handle business like that, right? And I also can't stand people who sit there like cowards and don't say nothing to defend somebody or to correct something or to stand up for what is right. I can't stand people like that. And so I struggle not putting my hands on people, particularly bullies, and then these cowards that just sit there and perpetuate, you know, certain activities, you know. But the great God of heaven, being wise as he is, he doesn't allow us to do that anymore. Like, he allows us to be angry and as pissed off as we like, you know, but he says, but do not sin. So I can't just go and just, you know what I'm saying, just punch somebody. I can't do that. Even though I would like to. And I have to repent of those thoughts. But nevertheless. So she gets my attention. She thanks me profusely, and I said, well, what became of this situation? Tell me about it. And she said, I don't see the guy anymore. I said, what happened to the manager? He's gone. I don't know what happened to him. I said, well, I said, you look good. I said, you look happy, and she did. She looked good. She looked happy. She's just a kid, you know. But she was like, thank you for defending me. She was like, I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. And like I said, she looks happy and everything. And so we parted ways. And I told her, I said, I'm glad you're still working. You know, I said, I hadn't seen you, so I was concerned there. But nevertheless, so situations like that are my reward. And so we have to use wisdom when we assist people. So fast forward to another situation. And this just recently happened in, the start of this year, right? Okay. At a place called AutoZone. AutoZone is a place where they sell a lot of car parts, right? And I'm somewhat of a VIP celebrity at AutoZone because I'm always working on my cars at the AutoZone, right? So I've gotten a lot of rewards and discounts and all types of, things. And so they know me, I know them, right? So nevertheless, I was working on one of my cars and I'm wrapping up. So I'm putting my tools away, wrapping up, ready to, do it moving. And an elderly woman comes in with her car. She parks, away from me. I'm over here, she's over there. One of the employees, Joseph, he shows up to work. He kind of has small talk with her. And he kind of looks at her engine, whatever. I'm wrapping up. Joseph takes off. She notices me. She comes over to me. She says, what's wrong with your car? And I said, well, there's nothing wrong with my car now that I fixed it. And so I said, what's happening with yours? And, she said, my car is steaming. It's overheating. And, and so I go to look at her engine, and her engine was just caked up with oil. There was like oil everywhere. And when she said that she had overheated, I thought she blew a gasket because there was so much oil everywhere. And so nevertheless, I said, well, do you have the user's manual? So fortunately, she had the user's manual. And so now here's the thing about having a good reputation with people and being kind to people. Hold on just a moment. So I got my drink, y'all, and ooh, man, they really know how to do it right. Okay, now we awake. Now we awake. So I struggle with people that, you know, that don't take a stand. But anyway, so let me also say this. So because I have a good reputation, and you've probably experienced this, but when you have a good reputation with certain merchants and certain employees and stuff, they will give extra special attention to other people because of you. Does that make sense? And I think I've mentioned this before. In dealing with the homeless girl, is that Pharaoh's house was blessed because of Joseph. You understand what I'm saying? And so God will give us favor throughout the land of the wicked. And other people will be blessed because of your presence. Does that make sense? So nevertheless, so they gave extra attention to the elderly woman because of me. Because like I said, you know, Joseph was showing up to work. You go and clock in, you know. But nevertheless, so I told Joseph, you know, top her off on the oil, on the coolant, on this. We got to find out where this oil is coming from. You know, and I had given them my number. I said, when you guys are done, you know, I said, best method, you know, process of elimination, fix the cheapest thing first, your thermostat, housing, replace that. And then let's get you down to the car wash, get it degreased, read a book, sit there 30 minutes, do it again. Don't be afraid. You know, degrease or engine cleaner, that's what you're going to see on the car wash. And read a book and let it do its thing, and call me. And because I do deliveries, I'm all over the valley. I'll come and I'll follow you back to the AutoZone, and so I can see if I notice any dripping coming out, right? And so when she was done doing that, you know, I followed her back to the AutoZone, and I told her to park in an area that was clean as possible. I said, because we need to see if we can identify where this drip is coming from. And I asked her, you know, how is your car driving, you know? And she was like, it's pretty rough, you know? And I said, you know, it's probably your power steering. So nevertheless, she parks, and I wait a while, and I can see then the dripping starts. And it wasn't coolant, it wasn't transmission, it ended up being her power steering. So anyway, so they had the parts, so we go and do that. And Joseph over here talking about, she needs 5 cords. You know, when I told him to top it off, I said, Joseph, that's for the entire car, not right now. She needs oil. She probably just needs a quart. Lo and behold, exactly a quart. So, oh, now you want to do it now. Before, you wanted to sit back there like, you ever get these people that want to go slow until you go fast? So anyway, this was one of those situations. He want to go slow through the light until I start speeding up, and then he starts speeding up. Well, you weren't trying to speed up back there. Anyway, so we do all that, and we get all that situation resolved. Like I said, they treated her differently because of the way, the attention I was giving her. So because they know me, they're like, okay, well, let's give her some help, you know, some real. And that's just the truth of it. And so nevertheless, you know, she would send me text messages telling me how her car is driving and thank you so much. And so she sent me a text message the other day, and this is what I want to get to about using wisdom when it comes to helping people. So she sends me a text message and she says that, so of course we're doing all these things in her car, working on her car to get the situation resolved. So obviously we're going to have conversation, right? So through the conversation, she's talking about her health, her children abandoned her, it's her and her dog, and the people in her church try to assist her when they can, you know, but essentially she has nobody. She's an elderly woman, she has nobody, just her and her dog. And so she requires a surgery, but she's afraid to go because she has no one to care for her dog. I tell her there's a program that will take care of your dog. If you have a surgery or a family emergency, you have to travel to, you know, a family situation, you know, whatever. They'll take care of your pet short term while you're handling your affairs. And so nevertheless, she, so I tell her about that. And then, so the other day she sends me a text message, because like I said, the text message was like, oh, my car is driving great, thank you so much, you know. So she sends me a text message. She says she found somebody to take care of her dog while she goes into surgery, but she doesn't have a ride. And that's where things can get sticky. Sounds innocent enough, doesn't it? I mean, I'm honored that, you know, you feel confident and comfortable enough with me to even ask me to give you a ride to your surgery, you know, and apparently I guess she's supposed to be in there for a while, a couple of days, I guess. And so it's not just that. She needs a ride from the surgery. Innocent enough, right? Little old lady, little old elderly lady. So kind to give an old lady a ride to her appointment. I can give you some tea cakes, right? Would you be so kind as to give an old woman a ride home, you know, from her surgery? I'm sorry to inconvenience you, dearie, but I certainly would appreciate it. Right? Innocent enough. You got to sign a waiver. You got to sign, assume responsibility of the person when they're released from the hospital. I'm not doing that. Old woman, I cannot do that. And I was clear with her. I said, listen, I said, I'm glad that you found somebody to take care of your dog, but I cannot do that. I cannot drive you. You have to use wisdom. And if you are seeking to be obedient to the great God of heaven, he'll give you wisdom. In addition to, he'll give you favor where people will not become bitter about it. You know what I mean? And she wasn't. She understood. And so nevertheless, in fact, she even invited me to breakfast. You know, but of course, I got things to do. So nevertheless, you have to use wisdom and you have to really weigh the situation. But one more time, if you're just out here with no God, you're going to be saying yes to a whole lot of things and saying no to the wrong things. Do you know what I mean? Anyway, so thank you guys for listening. I got my coffee. I've already done a couple of big deliveries. I usually like to do my bulk deliveries early on. And then the rest, you know, food or whatever. So anyway, thank y'all for listening. Enjoy your day. Enjoy your day. And be careful of those old people when they ask for certain favors. Anyway, guys, thank you for listening.